Hello friends, and welcome to the final week of the Stranger Things readathon. Or I probably should say the last week-ish, because I'm just throwing the last 2 days of the month into this vlog, so it's going to be 9 days instead of 7. So happy last week-ish of the Stranger Things readathon. So let's just get into what I'm going to be reading this week. Also, can tell a story about why I'm stupid, but we all know this. So I'm still reading Crier's War. I haven't read anything since last night, but I stopped at chapter 11, page 176. So I'm like almost halfway through. I'm hoping to at least get to the halfway point, probably past the halfway point today. I want to do a lot of reading. I'm really enjoying this so far. I think it's such a fun, but also sad fantasy. Like there's a lot of like death already, and it's just really good. I'm really enjoying this, so I'm gonna definitely make some progress in this today. And then as to why I am boo boo the fool, stupid head, pee pee poo poo brain, so as you may have seen in last week's vlog, specifically last week's vlog, I was kind of starting to panic about Green Glass House and if my hold on Libby for that book was gonna come in time by the end of this readathon. And I was like, okay, like it's fine, I'll just find another middle grade. Maybe I'll reread Percy Jackson, like I'll figure something out. And then last night after I ended last week's vlog, I just had the thought, I was like, why don't I check Hoopla, which is another like audiobook, ebook sort of app. I was like, why don't I check Hoopla and see if it's on there? Now, typically when I'm looking for an audiobook or an ebook on these apps, I check Hoopla first, just because even though they don't have as much as Libby does, you don't have to place a hold. You can just download things automatically like when you want them, which for this impatient human being, that's always appreciated. So I normally check Hoopla first and then go to Libby if I can't find it on Hoopla. So I must have maybe not done that with Green Glass House, or I did and they just added it since this readathon started. I don't know. But Green Glass House is on Hoopla, so I could have been listening to it this whole time. It is the audiobook though. I did place a hold on the ebook on Libby. So what I might do is start listening to the audiobook. If my hold on Green Glass House on Libby comes through, I might read along while listening, because my very easily distracted brain can actually focus when I'm listening to the audiobook and reading along physically. It's very helpful if you are distracted easily, which I think most of us in this day and age are. I find that when I'm reading a book physically and listening to the audiobook, I'm typically listening to the audiobook on my phone, and I probably have to pause the audiobook to just aimlessly scroll on social media. So that kind of gives me a second to think about, like, do I need to pause this to look through Twitter? Like, you're not missing anything. And then I just keep reading. So I feel like that's very helpful. So if that ends up happening, I'm going to take the hold. I'm going to start reading it on Libby, but I do have the audiobook on Hoopla. I just can't believe I didn't know that. Like, did I not check? Did it just get added? Did I not remember? I don't know, but I haven't started listening to it yet. I probably will start listening to it a little bit today. So crisis averted. I can read Green Glass House for the Erica prompt, but with those two books, that would be completing my Scoops Troop TBR, which would be very exciting. I have a feeling that will be very doable in the next 9 days, including today. I'm thinking that I will be able to do it, and a more ambitious goal is to read another physical book and another audiobook with this week. I would love to be able to complete these two books, Green Glass House and Crier's War, as well as 2 others, and then have that be able to help me with my bingo boards, more specifically the one that has like a bunch of prompts. Like if I were just to do the Scoops Troop ones and all the extra things, I wouldn't be getting any bingos on that. So I'm gonna try and get some more bingos on the bigger board here. So yeah, I don't know exactly what the other 2 books I'm gonna read are. I think I'm going to do a reread because then I can cross off Hopper's bingo board square. And then that would get me a bingo. So I might reread something and then see if I can make another bingo somehow. Because if I were to like double up on prompts, I probably would have more bingos than that. But I'm literally counting 1 book for each thing. So I'm making it more difficult for myself. And I mean, I never expected myself to complete all the prompts because I'd be 18 books and that's too many. I don't think I've ever read 18 books in 1 month ever in my entire life. So that was not happening. But I was hoping to get a little bit more bingos on that board, but that's okay. We're going to work on it. So yeah, Green Glass House on audiobook and Crier's War physically are the plans for right now. Once I finish these, I will pick 2 more books, 1 audiobook, 1 physical, and hopefully I can get through those in this next week-ish. But yeah, now I'm going to go and make myself another cup of coffee because I got up like I mean, not super early, but like relatively early for me. I also am going to be captioning a video. I think last week's vlog for the Stranger Things readathon, I'm going to be captioning that, and I also might take some bookstagram pictures with the coffee, so we're going to be multitasking with it. But also I just want it for some energy as well. So yeah, I'm gonna go and make myself a nice warm cup of coffee, and hopefully that will give me the energy I need to caption my video, to take some bookstagram pictures, and then hopefully read and get closer to finishing my TBR. Can you see how messy my bed is? Ignore that. So I am getting ready to film my October Journal With Me video. So I'm going to do that and listen to the audiobook for Green Glass House while I do that. Hopefully I don't get too distracted, because sometimes when I'm doing things while listening to audiobooks, I tend not to focus on the audiobooks, but journaling I typically can do. So far I've listened to 4 hours of the audiobook, so I have 7.5 hours left. So I'm definitely making some good progress there. I also read a little bit of Crier's War last night. I'm now up to page 238, chapter 14. So I didn't read a ton. I probably read like 50 or so pages yesterday, 50, 60, but I'm gonna probably make some more progress in this today. When I was reading last night, something was revealed, and it was like a big thing that I did not see coming, so I'm definitely interested to see kind of where that part goes. I'm really enjoying this. Very excited to continue on. But yeah, I just wanted to give a bit of an update while I had makeup on. I literally put this makeup on to take selfies with my short hair. Yep. But I'm gonna go and do my October journal video, so I'll check in with you guys later. Probably gonna get a good amount of Green Glass House done while I do that. So hello, it is now Thursday, and good news. My hold on Green Glass House came in on Libby when I had like 4 hours left of the audiobook. So I've actually been reading along with the ebook while I listen to the audiobook just for the last couple of hours of the audiobook that I have left. I'm just glad that I didn't wait to start reading Green Glass House when the hold came in. Like, I'm glad that I started listening to the audiobook because I'm almost done. So it's just closer to being finished with another book. I think if I had waited until yesterday when the ebook came in to start Green Glass House, I probably wouldn't be able to read 2 more books later this week, which is still my goal. So I think it all worked out for the best, but it's kind of funny that the ebook came in when I had like 4 hours left of the audiobook, but it's okay. So currently I have 2 hours and 11 minutes left of the audiobook, so I'm listening to it on double speed, so that's like an hour, and I'll probably finish that soon and then check in with you guys once I've finished. With Crier's War, I read a little bit last night. I probably should go get the book. I always forget to bring the books over when I'm talking about them. So with Crier's War, I am up to chapter 16, page 280. I didn't read a ton yesterday. I was planning on reading more yesterday, but then Darian from Darian Reads messaged me with this very ambitious plan. But she messaged me, and then we just started like talking a lot, planning things. So that took up a majority of my night after dinner, which is when I was planning on reading, so blame Darian. But I do have like 150 or so pages left of this book, so I think I could finish this today. I think I'm going to finish both Green Glass House and this today. That's my goal, because I think reading 150 pages and listening to an hour of the audiobook is definitely doable for today. So that's the plan. I'm gonna go and try and finish Green Glass House. I think I'm going to clean out my skincare drawer while I do this, because I have a lot of like face masks and sheet masks that I think have expired at this point. So I want to clean it out. I want to see what stuff I kind of have, because I feel like there's a lot in there that I forget that I have. Things that are like in the back of the drawer I feel like I just forgot about. So I think I'm going to continue listening to the audiobook while I do that, and then I'll check in with you guys once I finish Green Glass House. Okay, so I just finished Green Glass House like maybe 5 minutes ago, and I think I'm gonna give it 4 stars. Or maybe 4.5, I don't know. I'm gonna think about it a little bit, because for the most part it was really cute. It was very cozy, lots of mentions of hot chocolate, and at one point one of the characters was drinking a peppermint hot chocolate, It takes place over Christmas time. It was just very cozy. There's a little bit of mystery, but obviously because it's a middle grade, it wasn't too intense, and it was just really cozy and really fun. I feel like for the most part it was like that, and then the end was just really all of a sudden kind of dark for a middle grade, I would think. I don't know, it just kind of seemed out of place a little bit, but I still liked it for the most part. So I think I'm going to give it like a 4 or 4.5. I'll figure it out. I also wish that I did kind of read the ebook the whole time, because I feel like there was a lot of things I didn't understand just reading the audiobook or listening to the audiobook. I feel like a lot of the characters, like a lot of the side characters, I didn't fully understand who they were and what happened with them. Like I feel like a lot of what happened with their plot lines I just didn't really pick up on or remember by the end of the book. So I do wish I read this physically so then I could have fully understood, but I know that's more of like a personal thing. I did think the audiobook was good, I just clearly wasn't paying attention well enough, so that's on me. But I did like it for the most part. Very cozy. I think I might read or reread this one and then read the sequel later on this year. I think it would have been the perfect book to read around Christmas time. So I did like it. It was very cozy, and it definitely was a good experience with middle grade because I don't really read that much middle grade, so definitely enjoyed it. So I think I'm going to update my journal. I still don't know what to give it as rating, so I'll probably wait on that, but I'm going to update my Stranger Things readathon spread. So I think I'm going to update my journal spread and then move on to doing my voiceover for my October Journal With Me video that I filmed yesterday. I just want to get that done so I can get it uploaded. I need to take a thumbnail for it and get that all sorted, and then I probably will start reading Crier's War. Also, this is the first time I've put my hair in ponytails since I've cut my hair, and hairs keep falling out, so I haven't had that problem in a very long time. But yeah, finished Green Glass House. Now I just have to finish Crier's War, and then my Scoops Troop TBR is complete. And then once I finish that TBR, we will come back, we will look at my bingo board for the whole readathon, and I can figure out what to read next. Hello friends, it is now Friday and I officially finished my Scoops Troop TBR. So yesterday I finished listening to the audiobook for Green Glass House, and I did end up giving that a 4.5 star rating on Goodreads, and I think I kind of talked about my thoughts on that. Then last night around like 9:30, 10 o'clock, I ended up finishing Crier's War by Nina Varela, which was the last prompt I had to fulfill, and I gave this 5 stars. I would like to discuss how great my TBR for this readathon was. I read Paper Girls Volume 4, which I gave 4 stars, Green Glass House, which I gave 4.5, Crier's War, which I gave 5, and I'm obsessed with it. I think it's so good, so interesting, the world is really interesting, the characters, the relationship between Crier and Ayla, I'm just like, it's so good. Then I also read The Poet X, which I gave 5 stars, and then I read I Love You So Mochi, which I gave 4 stars, and then I also read An Ember in the Ashes, which we all know I gave it 5 stars. I'm literally obsessed with that book. So, not to brag, but I had a great reading month. So now what I've decided to do, because I still have some time to spare and to read and get more bingos with, I have picked 2 more books to try and read right now. So this is what the bingo board for all of the prompts end up looking like. Also ignore my chipped nails. I will be fixing that. But as you can see, I almost have a bingo here if I just fulfill Hopper's prompt, which is to reread a book that felt like home. And then I was thinking that I could go for Jonathan and Alexi, and then I would get another bingo, but we'll see what ends up happening. So for Hopper's prompt, that is to reread a book that feels like home. And I feel like I have a lot of books that kind of could fulfill that prompt, but what I decided to do was reread Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco. I really love this series. I think it's really gross, but also really fun, and I really like the romance in it as well. And I've been wanting to reread this series. I feel like now is kind of the perfect time to do a reread because it's almost spooky season, so I thought that this would be fitting for the prompt, but also fulfilling just a reread that I've been wanting to do anyway. So like I said, I think I'm going to do Alexi and Jonathan's prompt to try and get more bingos. So for Alexi, I started the audiobook for Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany D. Jackson. I've heard a lot of good things about this book. I've also heard a lot of good things about Tiffany D. Jackson's new book, Grown, which I also really want to read. But this one is a mostly red cover, which fits Alexi's prompt. So that is what I started last night. I think it's like a 10-hour audiobook. It's 10 hours and 7 minutes, and I am an hour and 22, almost 23 minutes into it. So not super far, but I'm definitely intrigued to know like what's kind of going on. It does get a little confusing just listening to the audiobook though, because we're kind of doing a lot of time jumps. So the main character, Claudia, her best friend is Monday, and basically Monday doesn't show up to school, and she's kind of trying to figure out like where she is. And it's not just one day, it's like over the course of like a couple of weeks. So it's kind of taking place before Monday isn't showing up, and then when Claudia finds out that she's not showing up to school and she's missing, and then it's like after that, but then there's a lot of different timelines within those, so it does get a little confusing. So I've just had to make sure that when I'm pausing the audiobook, I'm not just pausing in the middle of a section, I'm pausing like when we get to the end of a time jump, so that I know when I pick the book back up, I know where we are. But I'm definitely intrigued. I'm definitely liking it so far, and I'm excited to see kind of where it goes. There's also something in my eye. So yeah, I'm going to be listening to the audiobook for Monday's Not Coming, and also trying to read more of Stalking Jack the Ripper. I'm only on page 9. I read chapter 1, but I'm probably going to make some more progress in this. Oh my god, there's still something in my eye. I'm hoping to make some more progress in this today. I would like to get ideally halfway through, but I don't know if that's going to happen at this point. But it's only like 318 pages or something. It's 318, I remembered correctly. But I'm hoping, because I really like this book, that I'll be able to get through it quickly. Because there was another book I wanted to reread, A Dark Shade of Magic, but that one's a little bit longer. And there were just other books I was thinking of rereading, but I figured this one is quicker and it's perfect for spooky season. So it all worked out. So yeah, those are going to be my reading plans for my bonus books. Hopefully I can get in more bonus books. I would love to read more than just these two, but if not, that's okay. I will at least have one bingo on the big board, which is what I want. Also, I love that I waited until like the last week of the readathon to start stressing about getting bonus prompts in. Like, why didn't I strategize at the beginning of the month to have time to read more bonus books? I don't know. That would have been the smart thing to do, but she's not smart. So LOL at me thinking I could get through half of this book yesterday. I'm only on to page 47, 46. I'm on page 46, which is chapter 5. I really thought I was going to get over 100 pages into this book yesterday. And today I've only read like a page. Not even. I read the first page of chapter 5 and then stopped on the second page, so I'm doing well. I did listen to a bit of Monday's Not Coming today, so I have like 6 hours left, so I'm doing relatively well with that. I feel like I would probably finish that this weekend. But yeah, it's really weird. Like, I'm motivated to read in the sense that I want to get more prompts done, but at the same time, I'm not really feeling like reading. Yesterday, I thought it might be because I just finished Criers War, read a majority of that the day before, and really enjoyed it. So I was just kind of like not in the mood to read anything else because I'm like still in my Criers War feels. But today, the same thing's happening. I don't really feel like reading. So I'm going to try. I'm going to try to read a little bit before dinner. My sister is coming over to have dinner with us, so I know I'm probably going to just like hang out with my family for the rest of the night. So I'm going to try and read before that happens. So I think I'm going to focus on Stalking Jack the Ripper and hopefully can get some more prompts done for this readathon in the next few days because we're running out of time. So it is now Monday, and I do have quite a few reading updates for you guys. First of all, before we get into that, I do want to say, I think it was week 2 of this readathon, in my week 2 vlog, there was a spider situation, aka there was a spider in my bed, and I was freaking out about it, and then I realized while I was editing that vlog, I never gave an update on the spider, and I still haven't given one. We found it later that night. It was like behind my headboard, like kind of wedged itself in between like where the carpet meets the wall, and my dad ended up like taking the extender thing on the vacuum and vacuuming it up. It was really gross because it was like all squished together, and then when the vacuum went on, it like spread out. Getting grossed out talking about it, but we found it. I would not be in this room if we had not found it, so there is an update on that 2.5 weeks later. But as for a reading update, I ended up finishing the audiobook for Monday's Not Coming. I need chapstick. I ended up finishing the audiobook for Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany D. Jackson, and I ended up giving this 4 stars. I actually finished listening to the audiobook yesterday when I was like reorganizing my bookshelf, which I've come to the conclusion I'm not very good at organizing my bookshelves. I mean, they look okay, but it's like, it's not the best. And people have such good bookshelves and they organize them so well, and I'm like, that's not quite what I want, but it's okay. But it was kind of funny. I wanted to like film myself listening to the audiobook while I like reorganized my bookshelf, and I had like an hour and 45 minutes or something left of the audiobook, and that's when like all of the reveals and all of the things started happening. So then I was just shocked and didn't know what to do with myself, so glad I got that on camera. But yeah, I ended up giving Monday's Not Coming 4 stars. I thought it was good. I don't know, it's weird to describe this as like entertaining and good because it's basically following this girl Claudia whose best friend Monday like stopped showing up to school, and nobody knows like what happened to her, and she kind of seems to be the only one that's noticing that something's wrong. I mean, there definitely are people in her life that are like concerned and not quite sure what's going on either, but for the most part she seems to be the only one that really like cares and like wants to know what happened to her. And as you start to like read more and more, you kind of realize that like, oh, this isn't gonna end well. Like there's just kind of like this sense of dread throughout this whole book, wondering what's going to happen and what happened to Monday. There were a couple of things that I didn't love, like I think I was trying to describe this earlier in this vlog, where the timeline is kind of strange. So there's like the after, the before, and then there's multiple timelines within those things. So there's like a year before the before, 2 years before the before, a couple months before the before, and it's just kind of hard to keep track of. And without like getting into spoilers, you kind of get to the end of the book and there is a reason as to why that's sort of the case and why it was confusing, or at least why I think Tiffany D. Jackson like chose to write it that way, but you don't find that out until the end of the book. So I spent a majority of the book just being confused, so I don't know if that was like the best way to have the timeline kind of written. I liked the bounce between the timelines, but I don't know, I just got to a point where it's like too much. And then also one of like the big reveals at the end, actually one of the things I was reacting to while I was reorganizing my bookshelves, it seemed really like far-fetched. Not far-fetched, it just seemed really like out there for what the book was kind of like the whole time. It was just like, oh, this is kind of bad, this is bad, this is bad, and then I was like, this was like on a whole other level, this reveal. So I don't know, that just kind of seemed to come out of nowhere, but at the same time like it was shocking, so like I didn't hate it, but also it was just like, does it fit with the rest of the book? I don't know. But for the most part I did really enjoy this book, you know, as much as you can enjoy a book that has this kind of sad storyline. I did find a lot of the reveals and things kind of shocking. And I also really liked that the main character Claudia was a dancer. As a dancer, well, I don't really anymore. And by really, I don't. But I used to dance, and I really, really liked that part of it. I liked that we got to see a little bit of that with the main character. Also, Claudia has a solo, and so that is something that is described throughout the book. And the solo song that she has is All I Ask, I think, by Adele. And I was like, there has to be a reason the author chose this song and keeps mentioning it when she's talking about Claudia's solo. So I looked up the song, because I don't think I had heard that song by Adele before, and literally reading like the comments about what the song's about, it's like she chose it on purpose. It just fits the book really well, and I thought that was really cool. A nice little added bonus. Yeah, for the most part, it was enjoyable. I mean, again, enjoyable, but like it was good, it was impactful, it was important. I think it's a story that's going to stick with me for quite a while, so yeah, definitely would recommend. I also have Grown by the same author on hold on Libby. A lot of people have been talking about this one recently, a lot of good things, so I'm excited to read that one as well. And then for a Stalking Jack the Ripper update, I'm up to chapter 10. page 101. I really haven't been reading this very much. I'm having a hard time focusing on physically reading. Thank God for audiobooks. Is this how people read like over 100 books in a year? Audiobooks? Maybe I should be reading audiobooks more. But yeah, I definitely think I will finish this over the next few days. It's just taking me a little bit longer. I think sometimes rereads can go quite slow. So hopefully I can get this done in the next couple of days. I probably will read a little bit today. And then I did also start another audiobook. So for my bingo board, this is for Hopper. Monday's Not Coming was for Alexi, and then the next thing I had to complete was for Jonathan, and then I'd have another bingo. Or I guess I still haven't gotten one bingo yet, but this will complete the Hopper prompt, which will help get me one bingo. But the next one would be for Jonathan, which is a picture perfect cover. So I just started looking through the available audiobooks on Libby, and I came across this one. And this author, I don't know if they're either the font that they use on their covers is something similar to another author, or my mom has these books, or I've just seen other people talking about them, but I ended up taking the audiobook out for A Spark of Light by Jodi Picoult. I think it's like Picoult. But this cover is like watercolors, and it's pink and orange and purple and blue, and has a lot of pretty colors in it, so it definitely caught my eye. I definitely think it's quite a pretty cover, but the story itself is quite dark and not a very happy story. I think with my thought process here was I was picking audiobooks that I would have a hard time putting down, so more like suspenseful stories I thought would make sense. So this one basically follows few different characters. We're in quite a few different point of views of people at a women's health clinic, and a gunman comes in and holds the people there hostage. So we're following his perspective. We're following another girl's perspective who's like 15. She went in to get birth control and ended up there while that was happening, and her dad is like on the outside. He's like a police negotiator sort of situation, so he's like the type of guy that like negotiates with the people in these situations, and his daughter's inside. Then I think we're also following a doctor at the clinic and a nurse. We're also following a character who's like a pro-life protester sort of thing, and like went on the inside pretending to be a patient to get like the inside scoop. So we're following quite a few perspectives. We're following this kind of intense situation, but what's really interesting is that we're going like backward through the timeline. So it starts at 5 p.m. where we're kind of seeing like where a lot of these characters have ended up at the end of this situation, and then you go as 4 p.m., 3 p.m., 2 p.m., and it kind of just keeps going to the beginning of where this starts. So we're going to be kind of going backwards to get all of the pieces and to see kind of how the characters all ended up in this situation. And then I think the epilogue is like 6 p.m., so we're going to get like the after of everything and see where everything ends up. But I think that's quite an interesting way to tell the story, so I'm interested to see what happens. It's already quite suspenseful, already stressful. I think it's going to be one that I want to listen to quite a bit, so that's kind of good for a readathon. It's going to keep me reading and listening. So yeah, that's what I'm currently reading. A Spark of Light and still Stalking Jack the Ripper. Hopefully I can get through both of these in the next few days, because we only have today and then Tuesday and Wednesday for the readathon, so I think I'll be able to do it. I think those might be the final books that I end up reading for this readathon, but I definitely think that I can get through them, hopefully. Hello everybody, it is now Tuesday. We are on the second to last day of the readathon, so let's hope I can get everything done. So for reading update with Stalking Jack the Ripper, I'm on page 189, so I'm a little over halfway through the book, and I definitely think I will be finishing this by tomorrow. I think I will be able to get this done because I actually, while waiting for BTS to go on Jimmy Fallon last night, and for the rest of the week, I think I'm going to try and read while I wait for them to come on. That's what I did last night, and I got a good amount of reading done, so I think that that's what I'm going to try and do the rest of the week, because they're on Jimmy Fallon 5 nights in a row, so love that for me. But yeah, I'm enjoying this so far. It's a reread, so I obviously love the series if I'm going to reread it. I definitely don't think I'm like loving it as much as I did the first time, but I definitely think that it's still going to be like a 4 or 4.5 star. I think I gave it a 5 star the first time around, but I don't know if it's quite 5-star material, especially knowing how much the series improves from here on out. Like the final book in the series is so good that I'm just like, I don't know if this is worthy of a 5 star, but it's still good, it's still enjoyable, and Thomas Creswell, love of my life. As for an audiobook update, so I'm still listening to A Spark of Light, and I'm 61% through. I have 5 hours left. That's probably like 2.5 hours of listening, so I definitely will get this done by the end of the readathon. And my thoughts on this book so far? I'm not really having much of any. I mean, it's fine. Like, I would say right now it's probably at like a 3-star. I don't really feel much of anything, but I'm also intrigued to know what's going to happen because this book is going kind of back in time through the day, and we're going like 5 p.m., 4 p.m., 3 p.m., and we're getting the information backwards. We saw which characters made it out and which ones didn't at the very beginning, so any situation that's happening doesn't feel very dramatic because I know what's going to happen. There are a couple of characters that we don't know what happens to them by the end, so that is kind of what's keeping me motivated to keep reading, because I want to know what happens to them. But also, I don't necessarily think it's supposed to be about the suspense of like what's happening to the characters. I think it's more so supposed to be a conversation on women's health, abortions, the whole clinic, pro-life versus pro-choice, that whole situation, because that has been a very big discussion in this book, which I can't really be surprised that it is, but that has been something that has been talked about quite often through this book. So it's just kind of like, I don't know, like it's fine. I'm not really feeling much of anything. I just kind of want to know what happens to a couple of the characters by the end of this book. The ones that we don't know what happened to at the beginning, I want to know what happened to them, and that's kind of what's keeping me reading. Like, I'm not miserable listening to it. It's just fine. Like, there's nothing like that I love, there's nothing I hate. I'm very much in the middle of the road, I think, with this. But at this point, I'm just gonna finish it. Like I said, I want to know what happens, and also, like, because I'm listening to it on double speed, it's only 2.5 hours left of the audiobook, so I think I'll be able to get through it. But right now it's kind of sitting at like a 3-star. But yeah, other than a reading update, I think when my mom gets home from work, we're going to take a trip to Michael's, which is always exciting. I think she has to go for something, like she wants to get something there, and she mentioned it. And I'm not going to turn down a trip to Michael's, so I'm in. I think I might end up getting a journal while I'm there. Not that I need more journals, but also I want another journal. I think next year I'm going to start an actual like book review journal. I was gonna say a reading journal, but that's what I kind of call my bullet journal, but like a more specific to book review journal. I was watching one of Brooke from Brooke Can't Read, one of her vlogs. She has this journal where she like prints out a picture of a book cover, then writes the title, her rating, and then like a little bit about it. And I kind of want to do that. I kind of feel like that would be a good way of me being able to kind of keep track of my thoughts on books throughout the year and be able to give you guys more better reviews. Yep. That's why I need the notebook. But yeah, I just thought it would be like a fun way for me to keep track of my thoughts, because if you involve journaling and stationery in any way, I'm gonna want to do it. So I might try and get a journal for that, even though I probably won't be starting it until next year, just because I don't want to start that type of thing in like the end of the year. It's not very pleasing. So yeah, that's kind of the only thing that I'm going in wanting to buy, but I'm probably gonna walk out with more. That's just what happens. But yeah, I think that's really it for this update right now. I'm gonna go and continue to watch some YouTube videos, and I probably will try and read before my mom gets home from work, but if not, I will read definitely like later on tonight before BTS go on Fallon at 11:30, because that's late. I almost fell asleep before they came on last night, but I didn't. But yeah, that's it. I will check in with you guys in a little bit. Hopefully I don't spend too much money at Michael's later. So it is now the final day of the Stranger Things readathon. I can't believe it's already the final day. We only have one more day left. It went by so fast. I'm also disappointed that I didn't watch as much Stranger Things as I wanted to this month. I think I watched like an episode or two. I'm not quite sure. I think I maybe watched 2. So maybe I'll watch some later tonight to celebrate the end of the readathon. But I did just finish another book. So I finished listening to A Spark of Light by Jodi Picoult. I think that's how you say it. So I ended up giving this book 3 stars. It definitely wasn't bad, but it also wasn't anything that I was like mind blown about. I definitely think the discussions on abortion was interesting. That is a very big part of this book. So if that is something that you don't want to read about, definitely be aware. There's a lot of discussion on pro-life versus pro-choice and that whole thing. So that was very interesting. You definitely get kind of both points of view because there's characters who feel differently. So I think it was interesting, but I don't know. It wasn't anything that I was like, this is great, I'm loving this, you know? I don't know. I also thought that it was interesting that I kind of went backwards through the day instead of going like from start to finish, because I honestly think it was kind of cool to see where the characters ended up, but like how they ended up in these situations, how they ended up with these conclusions. So that was interesting. I also thought that because it was going back in time, that knowing what happened to the characters, I wouldn't care when those things happened. Like knowing some characters didn't make it, knowing where the characters ended up, I didn't think that I would care when I would get to that point through the day, if that makes sense. But I ended up still being just as surprised, or still as not surprised, but just taken aback by some of the things that happened, even though I knew they were going to happen. So I definitely thought it was an interesting way to tell the story. But yeah, I mean, it was fine. It's probably one that I'll eventually forget that I even read, but it was interesting in the moment, and I wanted to keep going to know what happened. So if anything, it kept me reading. But other than that, it wasn't anything crazy that I was obsessed with. So 3 stars seemed appropriate. It might be one later down the line that I end up changing my rating to. Sometimes I need more time to think about a book before I give it a rating. I do typically rate things like right as I finish them, but sometimes I do go back and kind of change my ratings on things once I have time to think. So that might happen with this book, but as of right now, it's a 3-star, and I think that makes sense. But an update with Stalking Jack the Ripper. So I think I have about like 80-ish pages, maybe a little less than 80 pages. So I definitely am going to finish this today. Don't really have a choice. It's the last day of the readathon, so I have to finish it. But yeah, I definitely think I'll be able to finish this easily today. So that would be really great, and then I will be able to get the 2 bingos I was trying to get, because this book counts for Hopper, which is the one prompt that is kind of connecting the 2 bingos that I did on the bigger board. So definitely need to finish this. I definitely think I'd get more bingos if I like doubled up on prompts. Like I definitely think a lot of the books I read could count for multiple prompts, but I was just curious to see what my bingo board would look like if I just counted 1 book per prompt and kind of see what it looked like that way. But I might fill in some of the bingo spaces with doubled up prompts, but I don't know. I think it's interesting just to see what I was able to do with just each book that I read. But yeah, so far everything is going well. I think I'm definitely going to be able to finish everything I wanted to finish. But in other news, I went to Michael's yesterday, so I thought I would show you guys what I got because of course I didn't just walk out with the journal that I wanted to get. I walked out with more things. So I did end up getting a journal, which I just got the Artisoft one. This journal is one that I used for my bullet journal in 2019. It doesn't have like the thickest pages, but I figured it would do well enough for what I want to use it for. They did have a pink one, but I kind of like that this one was neutral and then also kind of looked like it was leather, sort of. I don't think it actually is, but I do like the looks of this one. I like that it's neutral. So yeah, happy that I got this. Definitely going to start using this in the new year, but I'm going to use this, I think I was saying yesterday, I'm going to use this as like a reading journal in the sense that it's like more book reviews. And then I got another Micron pen, the Pigma Micron pen. This is in the number 08. I think it's a bit of a thicker one than I have. I have 01 and 05, so I kind of wanted a thicker marker for this journal in particular. When I'm writing like the titles of the books, I wanted a thicker pen, so glad I got that. I've also just been kind of wanting a thicker pen in general, so happy with that. And then I got some stickers and some washi tape because of course I did. I got these fall leaf stickers. I think I might use these in my reading journal or my bullet journal for next month. I want to do like a leaf theme, so I might use these. I might just use them in random spreads as well. Really liked those. I think they're also sparkly, so that's kind of fun. Not every single one is sparkly, but there are some sparkly ones. And then I got this like sticker pack, which is like a celestial star constellations sort of thing. So there's like these types of stickers. There's ones that kind of have like little to-do list areas. There's also a page that kind of looks like washi tape. Yeah, like these. I also really like those. I definitely will be using that. And there's also some like star sign ones as well. I don't know, I just really like the whole star galaxy sort of thing. So I was happy with these. I saw these and I thought they were cute, so happy with that. And then I got some Christmas washi tape because of course I did. The thing with Michaels is they put stuff out so early, which I understand why they do it, but because they put it out early, it sells out quickly. So like if I were to go back and look for this Christmas washi tape, maybe by the end of October, it could be hard to find. Like, so I just wanted to get it because it was cute. Not that I need any more washi tape. I literally got something to organize my washi tape and I don't think my washi tape's gonna fit in it, so I think I have too much. So someone tell me to stop buying washi tape. So I don't know if you can see, but it has a like red truck with a Christmas tree and then some other Christmas trees and then also just a plaid one as well. So we'll see if I use that in my Christmas bullet journal spreads or just around Christmas time. I think I want to do a more like brown sort of Christmassy theme, like brown, red, and green sort of theme for December, so I definitely think I will be using those. I love that I have my spreads planned out for the rest of the year. I'm just excited for fall and Christmas spreads. So yeah, that is what I got at Michael's yesterday. I need to stop going to that store because I just keep buying stationery that I don't need. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go and actually watch some YouTube videos just to kind of take a break in between finishing A Spark of Light and going back into Stalking Jack the Ripper. But I definitely am gonna finish this today, like I said, less than like 80 pages, so that'll be easy to finish. But I think I'm gonna take a little bit of a break, watch some YouTube videos, and yeah, I will check in with you guys once I finish Stalking Jack the Ripper. Okay, so it is officially October 1st, which means the Stranger Things readathon has come to an end. I just wanted to kind of come on here and wrap up everything I read this month, as well as give you guys the ranking or the standing for the teams. Peyton did go through last night and figure out which team came in first, second, and third. So it might have changed because we did that before the readathon had officially ended for everybody, but I'm pretty sure they'll stay the same. So make sure you go and check our Twitter to see the official announcement of the rankings for the teams. Also, I know that this vlog is pretty long. So far what I have edited is like almost a half hour and I haven't finished it yet. So if you've made it this far into the video, comment, is there a waffle emoji? There is a waffle emoji. Okay, comment the waffle emoji if you can, and if not, just type out like waffle emoji. I just want to know who made it to the end of the video, because if you did, thank you so much for watching until the end of this very long video and possibly watching all the other Stranger Things vlogs I did. So yeah, I just thought I would kind of wrap up everything that I read for this readathon. So I was doing the Scoops Troop TBR because I was the host for the Scoops Troop team. So for Dustin, I ended up reading Paper Girls Volume 4 by Brian K. Vaughan, Cliff Chang, and Matt Wilson, and I gave that 4 stars. I maybe should say what I rated them. And then for Erica, I read Green Glass House by Kate Milford, and I gave that 4.5 stars. And then for Robin's prompt, I read Crier's War by Nina Varela, and I gave this 5 stars. I really loved this one. For Steve, I read The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo, and again, 5 stars. And then for USS Butterscotch, I read I Love You So Mochi by Sarah Kuhn, I think that is the author, and I gave that 4 stars. And then the final prompt for the Scoops Troop team was for Starcart Mall, and I read A Number in the Ashes for that by Sabatier, and I gave this 5 stars. This is probably my favorite book that I read in the month of September. I'm obsessed with this. So then I started completing bonus prompts for the other teams. So I read Lost Book for the White by Cassandra Clare and Wesley Chu, and I completed this for the Mike prompt. I gave this 4 stars, I think. And then I read Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany D. Jackson, and I gave this 4 stars, and this worked for the Alexi prompt. And then I read A Spark of Light by Jodi Picoult, and I gave this 3 stars, and I ended up completing this for the Jonathan prompt. And then the last book that I completed was Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco, and I gave this 4 stars this time around, or did I give it 4.5? I think I gave it 4 stars, and this counted for the Hopper prompt. So let me bring it over and I can show you what my bingo boards ended up looking like. So I completed everything for the Scoops Troop team, so I completely filled this bingo board out. And then for the bonus ones, I did 2 bingos here, so that was really exciting. I also think what I might do is I brought over this marker, and this is a red marker that is a bit lighter than this one. It's more like a pastel red, and I think last night I figured out that if I doubled up some of these books, or most of these books, I complete every other prompt for this readathon. So I think I might go through and color in all the other prompts, because technically you can double up. I completed them all. I just want to be able to differentiate between what I did for each book versus like the ones I doubled up on, if that makes sense. So I think I'm going to color them in with this marker. But yeah, I wanted to show you guys what it ended up looking like just based off of the challenges I was able to complete with the 10 books that I read. Okay, so as you can see, there's kind of 2 different shades of red. The darker red are the ones that I completed just by themselves, 1 book per prompt, and then the lighter red are the ones that I doubled up on. So yeah, I think that that is very exciting that I actually managed to complete all of them with doubling up with the 10 books that I read. So that is everything I ended up reading for the readathon. I read 10 books, which I think is pretty good. But to get into the rankings, again, like I said, these might change, but as of last night at like 10 o'clock last night, my time, these were the standings, so I'm sure it's probably going to be the same. But again, check our Twitter and we will be telling you guys and announcing the official winners on there as well. In 3rd place, we have the Griswold Family. In 2nd place, we have Scoops Troop, which it's fine. And then in 1st place, we have Eagle's Nest, which is kind of surprising and kind of funny because that was a team that we were like advocating for people to sign up for, because not a lot of people were signing up for that team at the beginning of the readathon, but now it's the team that ended up winning. So that was quite the turn of events. But yeah, let me know what team you guys were on, how you feel about those rankings, what you read this month, how the readathon was. We are thinking about potentially doing another round of this for season 4, either leading up to, or we could even do it like after season 4 based off of season 4. So let us know if you would like to do another round. Let me know in the comments below. But yeah, this was such a fun readathon. I love Stranger Things. I love all the fellow hosts. I've been watching their videos, their vlogs for the readathon, and it's been so much fun. I hope you guys had fun too. Let me know down below if you vlogged for this readathon, because I definitely need to go and check out some other people's vlogs. But yeah, thank you guys for participating in this readathon. I hope you had a good time. Thank you for participating, for posting vlogs, for making TBRs, for posting about it on social media, just participating in general. It was a really fun readathon, and I hope you guys had fun too. And also, it was so much fun co-hosting my first readathon. So thank you to the other hosts of this readathon for thinking of me and reaching out asking if I wanted to co-host, because it was really exciting and very special. So I had such a good time co-hosting and participating in the readathon. But yeah, I think that is going to complete the final Stranger Things readathon vlog. So don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe down below if you haven't already. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.